Good afternoon. Am I
Dr.
audible?
Sangeeta?
I am Dr. Sangeeta. Am I audible?
Yes, yes,
Yes.
yes, yes, yes.
Yes, can I start now?
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am. Yes.
Yes, thank you. So, I have placed my paper as legal perspective as to COVID-19. Maybe this may sound that is I am out of the topic, but I will come to it and I will explain you why I have chosen this topic. I would like to start from the word quarantine because this is a word which we have come across for the last 4 months, and this etymological meaning of this word is starts from the Latin word, and it is way back from the medieval era, where it states that when the ship is wrecked, or when a persons are moving on ship and there is a um, epidemic disease which is contagious, then they would lock for 40 days. So it is from quarantina 40 or quarantina. So from that meaning black death. From that word we obtained this word quarantine, which means isolating oneself from others so as to protect that others are also not infected from the disease. Then next word which I want to talk is the pandemic. So which is prevalent disease over the whole country or to the world. So both is applicable to the current scenario. So we have come across all these words very frequently for the past 5 months. And if you see the my slide, I would have categorized the lockdown period into 6 phases. How they have how the government has made it. This epidemic situation is not new to us. We have been earlier facing such things, but in a different way. In 2003, we had SARS, which is called as a severe acute respiratory syndrome. Maybe we had medicines, and it was not so severe as that of COVID-19. And in 2009, if you see, we have the swine flu. So all this were also contagious, and they were causing death. And the death rate was not so high as what had happened now. So moving on to the legal perspective, what are the legal aspects that is governing during this lockdown and pandemic period? So first I would talk about constitution. Here this is a paramount and primary document of a nation. So article 38 and 47 I like to highlight because this talks about the primary health care of people. And if you see the article 246, which is in the 7th schedule of our constitution, under state list in list 2, we have the public health being taken care by the state governments. So when we see that how the central government came out with the Janata curfew on 22nd March 2020, and later on various phases of lockdown came into effect. So the first provision in IPC I would like to pick up, section 269 to 270 and 80s. If you see, you can understand what 271 speaks. I will start with 271 of IPC, which states that there would be an imprisonment of either description for a term which may be for 6 months or a fine or both. So this is what is the punishment that has been prescribed in IPC for any pandemic or disobedience during time of public nuisance, or when they are communicating diseases or infectious diseases. Here if you see 269, it explains whoever unlawfully or negligently does any act in which he knows or he has a reason to believe that it is likely to spread the disease or infection to others and dangerously cause infection to others, there would be an imprisonment up to 6 months or fine or both. So this is what 269 clearly says. And if you see section 270, it says that whoever malignly does any act which he knows or has a reason to believe or to be likely to be spread, or a disease which would cause a life, shall be punished with an imprisonment, and it may extend up to 2 years or with fine. So this is the first phase of IPC which I would like to explain. And if we see, we also had an Epidemic Disease Act as early as 1897. And yes,
Just
yes.
see the next slide now. The slide is
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. The Epidemic Disease Act 1897. So in this, what happens is this is a 123rd years back law, but they have clearly mentioned about how quarantine should be, and where it is from the ship other transportation, because air transportation was not so familiar as of now. So that has been very clearly mentioned in the act, which has to be noted down. And if you further see that this epidemic act also says that it shall protect from prosecution anything done in good faith towards the implementation of the law. And it also says that the public health, where prevention, control and management of epidemics should also be there. So we also had a bill earlier last year where it talked similar to this, which is public health prevention, control, management of epidemics, bioterrorism and disaster bill. Maybe we must be having it as a family welfare holistic law, which I would like to talk in the end. Next, if you see the Disaster Management Act 2005, where the rules which was placed in 2019, because nowadays we are facing disasters of two or three types in the same phase. If you see my slide, I have mentioned about the dates, how the government, central government and the state government have worked out for this lockdown period. And now we all know that in state of Tamil Nadu, even Sundays is a full lockdown. So specifying that, I have mentioned this. And if you see the next thing which I wanted to emphasize is, now there are so many statistics that is coming out in the medias, and we know now the people of India would know what that statistics and numbers really projecting. More than my answer, the answer which you know would be much better. Next, I like to emphasize on one point. There must be an umbrella legislation with robust solution for this, because now we have only bits and pieces of laws lying here and there. And when it comes to public nuisance or other provisions which I have said, the punishment, that is imprisonment, it is not exceeding 2 years, and and the fine amount is very less. And for the first time, there were rules that people should not spit in public places in India. So this is one thing which happened during this COVID-19. And one more emphasis is on the judicial aspect, which I wanted to do. The Municipal Council Ratlam versus Vadichan. Why I am picking up this case is the related issues to current aspects has been discussed as early as then. The public health, safety, convenience, decency and moral, logically linking section 188 and 268 of IPC, and along with section 133 of CRPC. As we well know that we have known of curfews only in Kashmir, and now we have been going through it for the past 4 months. And this section